What's up, guys? EJ Stewart here, joined by Shamari Stewart for another edition of our Young Justice episode recap and review. Today, we're talking about episode 21 of season 4, Young Justice Phantoms, Odyssey of Death. Sham, this is the finale, the capper of the rocket arc that took place in New Genesis. This had a lot of action, a lot of major moments, and this story really is just now flying into what is going to be a potentially really epic conclusion with the Nightwing arc to follow. But Sham, this was an exciting episode. I'm excited to talk about it.
Yeah. A lot happened. A lot of action, which of course, I love. The more action, the better. With action, um, and a lot of moving the story along and connecting things. So it was a very good episode.
It definitely was a very good episode, and this episode kind of began in an interesting way, in how, I totally did not expect to see the episode start with Xanadu and Zatanna. That's really where this
Yep.
episode began. They're there. Xanadu is doing some kind of spell. We don't know exactly what's going on, but we learn very quickly that she is actually trying to see if they could get any kind of connection to Connor. And there she
hmm
is, right there, Madame Xanadu, and she, it doesn't work, and Zatanna. This is kind of our first opportunity to kind of see what Zatanna did after she saw Connor in that vision and when they were on that school bus. And here we see she's been working. She's been trying to do something, and the kind of the B plot in this episode is essentially her efforts to try to connect to Connor and see what the hell is going on and why she saw what she deemed to be a spirit, but then she later learns was something totally different. And we see she's been trying to negotiate with Nabu, even to see if or Nobu rather, to see if he can get if he will participate and help out in the situation. So before we even get to the stuff on New Genesis, kind of what was your makings of this introduction to kind of Zatanna's efforts to try to connect to Connor?
I thought it was good. I thought it was kind of a good way to connect. The mystical kind of storyline with what's going on now.
Yeah.
And everything that's been going on since the beginning, particularly with Superboy, who seems to kind of be a catalyst, kind of tracking through all these different arcs. Um, so yeah, honestly, I thought it was good. I like Xanadu as a character in general.
Same.
Um, so seeing her was definitely a welcome surprise, and seeing just seeing her working with the other mystical characters, trying to bring Connor back. Um, I think it's just good to see. Again, just connecting all the storylines and showing how everyone's going to kind of be working together on this towards the last arc.
Yeah, and I'm very fascinated to talk about this at the end of this discussion because I think we talked about it a little bit last week. How this Nightwing arc, how much is it going to be really encompassing of many people, or will it feel like a true Nightwing arc? Some of this episode made me wonder if it is going to be more of a, maybe Nightwing is from his perspective. Maybe he's kind of the head of it, but perhaps we're going to kind of see everyone involved in a major way. But let's also talk about kind of what ended up being kind of this really interesting race, and kind of time heist situation that we had going on. It was really threefold because you had Ma Alpha, you had Mantis, you had them and their efforts to try to, and once they got the Phantom Projector, get away from everybody else because their time sphere had fried, and then you had Metron trying to get the Summit people to say, hey, like this whole thing, like we gotta stop these guys because they're on to some crazy stuff, and I don't know what's gonna happen, but they want the Phantom Projector. If they get that, that's bad news for everybody else. So you got the
Mhm.
Summit, which is the Justice League, the New Gods, and the Green Lantern Corps chasing after Mantis, Malafai Ak, and Laura Zod. Then you also had what we now see was kind of the how the episode ended, how they're applying this the space, the time treadmill. You had Flash, you had or rather Impulse, with Chameleon Boy and Saturn Girl, and they're now in the fray. They now that they have ability to kind of go through time, they're trying to catch Lorzod, or they don't. I don't know. Well, they don't know Lorzod. Yeah, they're trying to catch Lorzod, and they're trying to get him before he gets to the Phantom Projector, or if he has it, destroy it immediately. So, of course, it was going to set up a pretty big melee at the end. How'd you feel about how they set that up?
I thought it was good. I mean, I like it. Like I said, man, I love the action. I love it when you set up these kinds of clashes. It was particularly good once the fighting started. We really got to see kind of, we really got to see of course, the Green Lantern Corps. We got to see Lord Zod kind of flex his muscles a bit. So we really started to get a lot of, a lot of that action. So yeah, I thought it was good.
Yeah, and it was I definitely enjoyed it. Especially Orion, trying to get Metron to stop. Like, yo, what are we even doing? And Metron's like, we do not have time for this. Like, like just follow what I'm doing. We need to stop these guys, or bad things are gonna happen. But you can understand from Orion and the rest of the Summit side, they're kind of like, we're just following this guy who's already kind of shady to begin with, and he's not really giving us any answers. So definitely was a kind of a funny thing to kind of see, as this very serious situation was happening. So we see some of the teams forming as they kind of split up into different groups, because they realize that in order for them to power the Phantom Projector, they're gonna have to find a new spot on New Genesis to power it. So there are only certain places where it will make sense. So the team essentially splits up. So you have here the Forever people coming together to guard one section. High Father and High Mother had sent various new guards to other sections, and then you had the main team that we're kind of used to seeing. Metron, Orion, Tamar Ray goes with. He ends up going with them. Kilowog actually ends up going with the Forever people, and they're now kind of on a mission to find where Lorzod and all of them went, and that's where we get our showdown. So you got Lorzod and Mantis and Ma'al Fa'ak, who are trying to power the Phantom Projector against the Justice League, Tamar Ray, and of course, who am I missing there? Oh, and Orion.
Mm-hmm.
This fight scene was fire to me. I mean, I thought it started with Mantis going up against the Foragers, which made sense, and then the Mal Alpha fight scene with Rocket and Orion, I thought did a good job of kind of closing like that arc and chapter within this 4 episode arc of Rocket trying to understand Orion. And then you had Lorzod, who was trying to get his pops out of the Phantom Zone, eventually then getting into it with Tamar Ray and Orion in this scene. How did you feel like how this fight scene ended up playing out?
I thought it was great. It was a lot of tension with this scene. I think what made it even well, there were several wrinkles thrown in. Well, but what made it even crazier was when um, the Phantom Zone projector finished.
Yeah, yeah,
And
I kind of wasn't sure if it was gonna get powered up, but it did. Yeah,
yeah, so I mean, it was just like you said, the action was, of course, Mouth Ock and Mantis and fighting the Foragers and Lord Zod. So it was just a big clash, um, and yeah, it was really well done.
yeah, I love seeing some, and also the artwork in this. I mean, just going through these
Yeah.
pictures and those particularly, I thought this little fight scene we had going on with Tomar Ray and Laura Zod, seeing a Kryptonian go up against a Green Lantern and seeing those powers. You think about it, it's kind of rare to see. You don't see Superman fighting a Green Lantern, and there are very few Kryptonians. So, kind of seeing those guys go toe to toe, and seeing that Laura Zod is definitely a beast, but that also Tomar Ray is a beast as well, and this was some epic stuff. So essentially, as this thing is going down, the projector, as you said, it works essentially. They're able to power it up, and once that happens, Zod and his crew, they're like, "Yo, man, we're here. Like this is our opportunity." And this, I think, was actually one of the funniest parts of maybe the season to me. Was number one seeing Non try to go through and like you idiot, they ain't gonna go after you first. Like what are you doing? So he tried to go up there, and I thought that actually kind of like that. That wasn't just open portal and anyone could just go in. Like it would make sense for a Phantom Projector to be very specific with, okay, if we're gonna take somebody out of the Phantom Projector, we're gonna take one person. We're not gonna just like so that anybody can just open it and then just people just flood in. Like we now learn it was gonna be a process. Like they were gonna have to do this one by one. So the first people they try to get, of course, is Druzad, who that's who Lorzod puts the name in to say this is the person we're trying to get, and it looked like he was gonna get through. I don't know how you felt, John. I thought he was going to get through. I was like, yo, Lord, like Druzad's gonna get into this fight, and this is gonna be crazy. But it's actually Connor who ends up stopping him, and Connor, I think, is now gonna be in an interesting spot in the Phantom Zone because he essentially ruined their plans. Like everything was about to be all good, but him being confused and not knowing what the hell was going on. Druzad tells his wife, like, don't worry, like I'm gonna come back for y'all. And Connor, him getting in the way, stopped everything. I kind of wonder. I was surprised that they didn't get him out, but now I wonder what Connor's life's gonna be like in the Phantom Zone with House of Zod. He can't be in good favor right now.
Yeah, it's gonna be really interesting. Um, yeah, I mean, I thought that scene was great. Just when they were, of course, while the whole fight is going on, Drew Zod is getting sucked in or sucked out,
Yeah.
and you know, and Connor just incidentally, I guess, and not knowing what was going on, stops it.
Yeah.
So we'll see what that does. I don't think they'll remain in the Phantom Zone for much longer. You know, I think they're gonna get him out successfully soon. That'll just be my guess. But yeah, I mean, it was crazy to see. I didn't know whether he was gonna get out or not. I mean, I just know they were kind of milking it. So I'm like, I don't know. I mean, is he gonna get out? Or are we gonna see him get out? He didn't get out. So yeah, it was crazy.
They were milking it. I something told me I thought it was only going to be him. Or no, I scratch that. I thought him and Connor were going to get out. But what was interesting, I don't know if you remembered, but Druzad also started to get a little concerned because I think he realized that Connor would have went through because, as he noted, Connor was not sent to the Phantom Zone by the Kryptonians, and he's not technically like a full Kryptonian. So Non was rejected because he's he's a registered criminal. Like they're not gonna just let him out. But like Connor wasn't in the system, so Connor actually would have got out. So when we get to this next arc, I don't wonder if you're gonna see maybe just those two guys get out, or maybe a couple. I mean, there's a picture out that we'll show at the end of this discussion where you'll see, Connor and Druzad, and there's some other folks on there. But I don't know. How did you picked up on that as well, right? That Connor, that Druzad kind of picked up quickly. That Connor also went through, which he didn't want.
Yeah. So I mean, and I didn't even think of that. Which again,
I didn't think of it
the writing is really just really well done. But yeah, I didn't even think of that because they clearly have a system in place where you can only take out one person that was sent in maybe at a time or something along those lines. But Connor wasn't sent in. He was just incidentally, I guess, ended up there.
Right, yeah.
So if there's a door out, he can theoretically, I guess, just walk through. So, yeah, I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy to think about. Yeah.
Yeah, and it will set up eventually when he does get out. Like he'll have probably, an easier time, which would make sense because we want to see Connor back, obviously. So the idea that he won't have to go through maybe the processes that some of these other people have had to go through would make sense from this regard. And here's that shot of that crazy of Connor and Drew's like, let go of me, you idiot. And Connor's like, no, we need you here. Him just not knowing what the hell is going on. It's gonna set up quite a situation there. But as this fight scene is going down, things aren't going well for Lorazad. He's losing this fight on many regards. Um, he's trying to stop Flash because once Flash is able to get away from the the mother box that was attacking him, Flash is now like, all right, I don't know what's going on, but I don't think we want anyone coming out of that mother box. Jay Garrick being smart and wise, having been 120 years old and been through his set of war, he's like, so I'm gonna finagle this thing, which is why Druzad and Connor were having trouble as they were trying to be sent out of the Phantom Zone. So Zod, as you saw in that previous picture here, he's trying to, stop Flash. We see Jay Garrick still got it because he couldn't hit Jay Garrick with that heat vision, which I thought was dope to see. He's all right. He may be old, but he's still spry. And then also there's this calamity that's being created with Promethean. So Lord Zod, with him awakening the Promethean, now has set off a potential calamity that Tomar Ray now is like, well, I guess I gotta be the person to clean this up, and it leads to him making essentially the ultimate sacrifice. He's there. He's trying to stop this situation from happening, and he's fighting like hell to stop it, but he's eventually shot down by Lord Zod. He has to make a very tough decision. He's able to shield Lord Zod initially, but the ring tells him you do not have the willpower to both funnel this energy out of the atmosphere and block Lord Zod's heat vision. So you gotta make a decision. And Tomar Ray makes, again, like I said, the ultimate sacrifice, saying that he's not gonna allow these people to die, because if it would have happened, the whole atmosphere of New Genesis would have been just destroyed. And he is killed in quite gruesome fashion. It was tough to kind of watch. In his words, he was not going to let another world die, as he talked about earlier. Really good foreshadowing with him talking about Krypton and him not being there for that, and now him having to make this very tough decision here. And he does indeed save New Genesis from the catastrophe that was happening, this cascade, but we lose Tomar Ray in the process. So pretty intense death. And if you follow the Green Lantern animated series, this is the Tomar Ray from that series. So this is his death. So kind of a big deal here, Sham. What did you kind of make of their decision to kill off Tomar Ray, and what did you kind of feel of how his story wrapped up in this arc?
I thought it was a good story. Um, he wasn't gonna let another planet die, and he didn't. He ended up saving the planet.
Yeah.
So I thought it wrapped up nicely. Um, you know, it added some teeth to Lord Zod, of course,
It
and
did.
we know what he's capable of.
Yeah.
Kryptonian, and he clearly knows how to use his power as well. Um, so yeah, it was sad. Of course, it was sad to see. He didn't want to see it, but you know, but you know, at least he was able to save the planet like he wanted to.
Yeah. And I do agree. I think that, like, you hit it right, the nail on the head with um, the idea that this adds teeth to Lord Zod's character, because he is, to me, he's essentially the main villain of this season, if you really think about it. I mean, maybe an argument could be made that maybe it's him slash Vandal, maybe even slash Darkseid, but I feel like a lot of the domino effect issues that go on throughout the season kind of starts with him. So, and his motivation, which is to free the people from the Phantom Zone, which is why the Legion is even around to begin with. So, in my opinion, he kind of really does set himself up as the big bad of the season. And, he did kill Connor Kent. I know he didn't actually kill him, but, he, sent him to the Phantom Zone or whatever the hell is going on with him. But this is now another thing. So, Lord Zod is not someone to be messed with, not someone to play with. And I thought that this was a good way to kind of give him some teeth. And boy, did Lord Zod and this guy, Orion, throw down in that bubble, man. This was a hell of a fight scene, I thought. This the action in this whole episode was just, I mean, this was a really entertaining 22 minutes. And you had Lord Zod versus Orion. I could have watched these guys fight for ever, to be honest. Not to take a little wrestling pun there, but Rocket encasing them in her bubble, and it showed Rocket previously seeing Orion for who he is and being able to thwart Mount Alpha's efforts to try to see Orion as the monster and to win the psychic battle. And here, I think this is Orion also now, kind of standing up to his own fears, his own issues, and saying, look, the only way we can really stop this guy is if I got this guy one on one in this bubble, and like I don't care on claustrophobia, like do it. And this was dope. So yeah, this fight scene going on, and the fight scenes were not over because we also then learned that the Green Lantern that would now become the new Green Lantern that Tomar Ray's past. And I'll be honest, this was maybe the one thing I was kind of mad about, but Forager, and it's the new female Forager that we've been introduced to, has been chosen as the next Green Lantern, the person to, or the bug to take on the ring that was Tomar Ray's. How did you feel about that decision that they made to make Forager a Green Lantern?
I didn't mind it. I was like, oh wow, okay, that's interesting. So
It definitely gave me a pop. I definitely, when it happened, I was like, oh snap, that's crazy. It's kind of like, oh, I kind of, to be honest, Sham, like I don't know, maybe my expectations are way too high. Like I was hoping it'd be like a Baz or like a Kyle Rayner or someone like that. Like I was hoping it'd be someone that they have not introduced because this DC universe with just so expansive, and someone that wasn't in the GL animated series. I was hoping maybe you see someone like that get introduced here, and that would have been crazy. So when it was Forge, I was like, oh okay, that's cool. It was I think it was great for the actual scene and great for the moment, but that was my initial feeling. Was like, oh man, I kind of wish it was someone a little bigger.
no, yeah, I definitely get that. Yeah, I mean, it definitely shocked me. So I was like, oh wow, okay. Um, I mean, I think it kind of serves a couple of purposes. I mean, it adds more, gives more power to this new Forager. So I
Yeah,
guess
for
that could
sure.
be a recurring character later on. And it kind of resolves the whole kind of romance that was going on between this Forager, our Forager.
Yeah,
So kind of get a resolution there as well.
yeah, for sure. And I also, one of the things I do like about, even though I was like, oh, I hoped it was someone that would be more fan servicey for people who love Green Lantern. But the one thing I do like about this decision was I like that, as we know, like anybody can be a Green Lantern. Like if you have the
Yes.
willpower, if you have whatever, like you could be a Green Lantern. And the Forager bugs on New Genesis are like, the lowest on the caste system, so to speak. Like they're like the
Right.
forgotten, and they're not, highly well received. So the idea that a Forager could be as powerful as a Green Lantern, I think, is a great thing. I think that is a great, thing for them to do. I just was hoping that we would eventually see, maybe a new Green Lantern be introduced, especially because we had that little joke earlier about all these Green Lanterns being introduced in this, or rather, all the Green Lights on Earth that they had mentioned with, we already know Guy Gardner, John Stewart, and Hal Jordan are in this universe. So things were going very, very poorly for Lorzod. The Phantom Projector is destroyed because Bioship eventually gets there, sees the Phantom Projector, and the Legion take it out. So Phantom Projector done with. Uh, Lorzod now kind of out of answers. Essentially, he's like, all right, well, at least I know the Bioship is here, so we need to take over that ship. So him and Malphite get on the ship. They take out Saturn Girl immediately, and under duress, tell Chameleon Boy and Impulse to get them out of there, threatening to snap Saturn Girl's neck. Which, at first, I thought he was just gonna do it. I was like, oh snap, like he's gonna get another body here, and this is gonna be kind of crazy. But I think that he'd already, done so much damage that it was convincing that he could maybe kill Saturn Girl right then and there. So that, and then they end up speeding off. So that was the last we really end up seeing of Zod and Ma'al. Mantis is with the he's arrested. They were to apprehend him because he got the hands from Forager, Who shout out to Forager. He mentioned our boy Nightwing. He was like, because Mantis. I thought that was a good callback. Cause when they were fighting, I was like, I remember Mantis was talking crazy to Forager last time. Forager left. I remember that when he said that, and Forager had told him, well, last time I wasn't trained by Nightwing, and he gave him them hands and got Mantis out of here, which I thought was cool. But now we do not know where Lorzad, Ma'ala Fa'ak, or where now Chameleon Boy and Impulse, where they've gone and what's going to happen next. But we do know that as of right now, Connor and the House of Zod still in the Phantom Zone, and we have no answers to that. And that ended up kind of being how this main story wrapped up. Of course, the death of Tomar Ray was sad to see. There was Kilowog coming through, seeing what happened. That was tough to see, obviously, as well. Those guys have been together for a long time. All the emotional moments were hit in this episode. They essentially had to make a trade. I don't think Metron's too happy about this. He got a busted time sphere and lost the Phantom Zone projector, which I'm sure for him was like, what the hell? But overall, pretty crazy episode. Before we get to the last bit of stuff with Zatanna, just what do you make of how everything wrapped up on New Genesis?
I liked it. I mean, the action, as I mentioned, the action was crazy. This episode was really good, very high octane. This may have been my favorite arc so far, possibly.
I think it was. I don't think there's even a maybe for me. This was amazing.
Yeah, this may have been my favorite arc. I like I like the Artemis arc as well.
I did too.
But this was really good. This was really good, especially the end. I mean, this is fantastic. So, and I like that Rocket kind of got a little bit. She kind of closed her whole thing with her son and everything too.
Yep.
So it was good. This was a very, very good arc. And I'm very much looking forward to seeing where things go from here.
Yeah, definitely enjoyed how they closed everything with Rocket coming to grips with seeing her son for who he is, and not necessarily maybe who she wants him to be.
Right.
It was the storytelling was a little bit on the nose with the stuff with Orion, but I thought it was still written with a lot of heart and well executed. And this was a heartwarming ending. It was tough to see, Tomar Ray go out like that, and you got the villains that close in your grasp, and they escape. It's a little tough, but we got 5 more episodes, and we got our boy Nightwing coming in the wings, and this kind of leads us to the end of the episode, where you have Zatanna, who eventually finally does get Nabu to agree to this, convening of the sorcerers of the DC universe, and boy, did you have a pretty great cast here. Blue Devil in there, Tracy, Khalid, everybody's in there. You got Mara was in there. I mean, it was pretty neat to see that many sorcerers all on one screen. All people that by the way, we have been introduced to in this show. So that also kind of was great to see, just kind of the lineage that Young Justice has. And they try to do a ritual to get in contact with Connor's spirit, but they are unable to reach any kind of contact, which kind of begs the question of, all right, well, what's going on? And, I think it was, I don't know who, maybe in Xanadu, I don't know who mentioned it, but one of them was like, well, maybe we can't reach him because, like, his spirit's at rest. Like, he's at peace and there's nothing to do. And Zatanna's like, oh, no, it's Nabu. That's why she's in the realm. So Nabu's like, oh, maybe he's at rest. Like, what are we doing? He's like, I don't buy that. I've been trying to find this solution to this problem from a magic standpoint and from an afterlife standpoint, but like that's pointless because I don't think he's in the afterlife. I think this dude's alive, so I don't need magic. What I need is a detective, which it was a pretty baller way, in my opinion. As I get chills even thinking about that line, for her to kind of lead us directly into our favorite detective on this series, Nightwing, his arc coming up. So, Sham, what did you make of how they wrapped up that episode with Zatanna saying, "We need a detective. We need Nightwing"?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a good way to end it. We know where it's leading. You know
Yep.
what we gotta get. We know what we gotta get. I mean, Nightwing. This arc has gotten so massive to the point where it's like, geez, how is Nightwing?
I know.
I've never seen Batman go up against Zod. Like, so what? I'm like, what's Nightwing? Nightwing's gonna need a lot of help.
Yeah, you will.
So yeah, it's gonna be it's gonna be good. It's gonna be very good. I think we're gonna get some cool, some throwback team ups. I think we're gonna see the OG team,
That's what we're wait. That's what we're
eventually at
waiting
some point.
for. Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's gonna be good.
And there's the first promotional image of the last arc of season 4 of Young Justice. Had to superimpose it a little bit because they didn't have I wasn't able to find a full horizontal of this, but you definitely see many of the main characters that we've really been introduced to for much of this season in this arc. In fact, Nightwing's the only character in this picture that we have not actually dealt with really in a major way yet. You see the Legion on the bottom left, Connor in the Phantom Zone. You see a Druzai there not in the Phantom Zone, so that makes me believe that
Hmm.
he will eventually get out. I think that's his wife up there on the top right. But yeah, man, like we're here. This is where we're at with Young Justice. Last arc. I'm still waiting for that day where we get the confirmation that we have a season 5. That has not happened yet, but I urge everybody. I know I've been doing it. Tweet at HBO Max. Tell them, yo, what the hell is going on? Where is our season 5 of Young Justice? Let's renew this. Let's get this going. It is consistently one of the most watched shows on HBO Max. Every Thursday, it is consistently trending. Um, there's no reason for HBO Max and DC not to renew it. I don't know why it hasn't happened yet, but and maybe it has happened, but maybe they haven't announced it. Maybe they're playing coy. We don't really know for sure, but I know I'm on it. I certainly encourage all you guys to get on it as well. Make sure you tell HBO Max that we need a season 5 of this show because this show is very important to a lot of people and it's telling some amazing stories. So with that being said, this uh, episode Odyssey of Death, episode 21 of season 4. Let's give our grades. Shamar, I'll let you go first. What are you giving this score out of 10?
I'd probably give this episode a 9 out of 10. I give it a good 9 out of 10. This was a very good episode. A lot of debate, bring pretty much everything that I would want to see. A lot of action. Wrapping up. Kind of bringing plots together, moving the plot forwards a good amount. Didn't seem like an episode that was stagnant. You had a lot of emotional moments, a lot of tension. It's definitely a thriller episode. You didn't know what was going to happen. A lot of surprises mixed in. Um, so yeah, it was really good. It was a really really good episode. So I'm gonna give this a 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10 is a good score, man. And it's so good. I'm gonna repeat that score. I'm gonna copy you there, copy your work there. I'm gonna look over your shoulder of the test, and I'm gonna give this as well a 9 out of 10. This episode really hit on a lot of levels. Hit on the emotional levels. Hit on the drama levels, the suspense levels. Hit on the action levels. And I think we got really good payoffs. I think we got good payoffs to Rocket's story arc and kind of her trying to look beyond maybe the surface of things and kind of take things and appreciate them for what they are. We got to see a little glimpse of potentially maybe seeing Connor get out of the Phantom Zone, but also House of Zod getting out and what that would mean for the world and how bad that would be. We got to see tragedy in this arc as well. Really, this episode had everything, and I thought in terms of concluding this specific arc, I thought it was really a spectacular ending. I mean, Shamar earlier said that this was maybe his favorite arc. I can take maybe out of it for me. This was, I think, without question, my favorite arc. I think it was the best arc so far, and it feels like Young Justice is really picking up a ton of momentum. Like so much momentum to me where it's like it feels like we should be coming to like a season finale in like an episode or two. But we have 4 more episodes. We got episode 22, 23, 24, 25. Well, actually, we have 5, 26. So we got 5 more episodes left of this season. So we're not really anywhere close to being done. But man, it's been a hell of a ride, and what a great way to end that last arc with this episode 21, Odyssey of Death. So I'm gonna copy Shamari's score as well. I'm gonna give this a 9 out of 10. What do you guys think of this episode of Young Justice? Did you enjoy it? Did you not enjoy it? What did you think of some of the suspenseful moments, some of the tragedy that we mentioned? If you have any comments, make sure you give us a comment in the comment section. Also, be sure to give us a subscription. If you guys like Young Justice, if you like various other content, whether it be, Moon Knight, I know we got to do our season finale recap on that. Various other NBA topics. We do plenty of sports stuff on here. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, New Generation Media. And make sure you follow us on social media. We're on Twitter. You can find us New Generation Pod. Instagram, New Generation Podcast. And you can find us on Facebook as well if you search New Generation Media. But that's going to do it for now. Thank you guys so much for checking out this edition of our Young Justice episode recap and review. For Shamari, I'm EJ. Take it easy, guys. Peace.